Welcome to the Let's Talk About Fostering podcast, the podcast from the Polaris community where we answer your questions and bring you insights into the world of fostering from the people who live it every single day. I'm your host, Faye. In this episode, we'll be answering the question, could I foster? We'll be answering some frequently asked questions and busting open some myths and misconceptions so you've got all the information you need. We're joined by married couple Andy and Mike who foster with our Therapeutic fostering agency, ISP. They currently care for a girl and a boy who aren't related but have built the most beautiful sibling bond together. Let's get into it. Hello, Andy and Mike. Welcome to Let's Talk About Fostering. How are you both doing today?
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
You are joining us today from ISP Fostering, based in the Midlands, and you're going to discuss the theme of could I foster? So we're going to get into that a little bit. So who brought it up first, and what was that very first conversation like between you at home?
It was
It
myself.
was you, and it, Mike?
Yes, I brought it up. And I think that we obviously got together.
Yeah.
We was together for some years, wanting to build our life.
Yeah.
And then I sort of approached the subject about sort of family and how we could achieve that. And the fostering was one of the ways we could do that. And I think we just felt we could give a lot
Yeah.
to the children.
It was just the right time, essentially.
Did you discuss other options? Did you look at adoption and other
We didn't,
routes?
to be honest.
No, because we wanted to give something back to the children. So this is why we really wanted to go into the fostering direction.
I think I just felt it was a really nice thing to do. I felt that we could give a lot to the
Yeah.
children who are out there. So we never really discussed any other options. That was what we wanted
That's what we
to
wanted to
do.
do was the fostering.
It was right for you, yeah. And
Yeah.
so you used the phrase like giving something back or providing something for those children. What do you mean by that? And I think it's good to explore that a little bit because a lot of people who don't know about fostering might not know the sort of backgrounds these children come from and why might those children need support. So what sort of backgrounds have you experienced children come from?
Obviously, all different types of backgrounds. A lot of the children in the care system have had neglect, may have experienced lots of trauma. And I just felt that our own life experiences, especially being in the same-sex couple and having to face that in our life as a challenge, is one of the main things where we felt actually we've got the knowledge to do this. Was a little bit unsure about how it would turn out. Obviously, you hear lots of stories.
Some anxieties initially.
Yeah, lots of
around,
anxieties, because obviously there's lots of trauma there, so you never really know what you're going to be dealing with. But they're just children, and I think that's always been in our mind, isn't it? They're just human. They're just children.
And when we got referrals come through, we looked at the referrals, but we'd kind of have an open mind to the referrals, so we were open to a challenge or anything really, wasn't we, Mum?
Yeah, because what a child in one placement may act very differently to another.
Yeah.
So although you need to be mindful of it. You know, it's not always given that it's going to be those behaviours are going to come out in your environment.
How did you know that ISP was the right agency for you?
So we were with a previous agency, and we were doing a therapeutic fostering with those. So we knew that ISP was an agency that also did therapeutic fostering, and we just kind of it's just right for us, wasn't it, Mike? It was just the right.
To be honest, when we first initially looked into fostering, I wasn't really aware of the therapeutic side of it. I just thought we'd go to the local authority, take a child on,
Take them home.
Yeah, just take them home.
and then obviously researching it a bit and going through an agency, a therapeutic agency, we learned a lot about the therapeutic side of it. And to be honest, without those tools and without that training and knowledge, I think it would be more challenging to deal with the challenges we face.
Yeah.
So
Can you tell us, for someone who's not, so like you're back, how long ago, when did you start fostering? Remind us.
2017, we started fostering.
It's a long time now, you've stuck it, you're doing really well.
We have.
But if you're someone who's just embarking on their fostering journey for the first time, what is therapeutic fostering? What's the difference?
So it's basically parenting to the child's individual needs, being able to be flexible, open-minded, and very mindful about what the children may have gone through. You may not know all their history. You may not know some of the things they've had to face in their childhood, but always be open and be thoughtful of that. And I think that's really key to be able to parent the foster child. and be
Brilliant.
supported.
And it's also looking behind the behaviour as well.
Yeah.
So that's key with therapeutic fostering.
Something that maybe seems like quite a modern concept to a lot of people.
Yeah,
So if we're
yeah.
putting that in layman's terms, that means that if a child is misbehaving, they're not a naughty child.
No.
There's something else going
There's look
on.
behind the behaviour. There's something happening, and it's opening. It's having the open questions with the child as well, and understanding that child is really key.
The communication really important. For that as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. I want to go back in time, if we may.
Oh wow, okay.
Assessment. So
Yes.
you've applied.
Yeah.
You've been approved, or you're in the process of being approved.
Yep.
Talk me through the assessment process, Andy.
Yeah, that's fine. So we went to an open day initially,
Yeah.
to kind of find out what everything's about, and then we went through an intense 6-week induction process,
Okay.
learning lots of different aspects of fostering, learning about local authorities, agencies, social workers, all different behaviour patterns, all different things we went through. And then after that, we had an interview with a local independent social worker,
Okay.
who would come out to our house a couple of times a month. But they would also talk to your friends, family, work. So yeah, it can be a little bit daunting.
Quite thorough as well.
Very thorough.
Intense, wasn't
Very
it?
thorough.
It was intense.
Very intense. We had to have a DBS check.
Yeah.
And that was both me and Mike. If you've got other family members that live with you, they over 18, they would also have to have a DBS check as well.
Okay, so everyone in the family has to have a DBS check. And then what about like the kind of questions and the route through that? Because a lot of people describe it as quite invasive and it's very thorough.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's also quite reflective.
Okay.
And actually quite enjoyable to go back through your life. No,
No, it is.
to just reflect on where you've been through your journey so far.
It's not
So it's
often
quite-
people do that actually.
Exactly,
in
you
that
don't.
detail.
Don't, no.
And actually, the independent assessors who come out and do that, they're so she was really good at it. It made us feel relaxed, and there was no pressure. It was general conversations.
Yeah.
It was just her being interested in our life, which is also nice to have.
Yeah.
And obviously, we gave us that opportunity to reflect. The process is intense, but also quite interesting.
And reflective. And you do go right back from when you were a child.
Why is it important that we get into that level of detail for foster parents?
I think they like to make sure that your past, if we've had trauma or past experiences, that's healed enough for you to be able to
Cope.
Cope with it.
and manage behaviours, what you may face being a foster parent. And that is, and even if it isn't, they can help you through that process.
I would imagine that a lot of people don't make it through that process, but actually that's for the best, because if you care,
This is it, isn't it?
And it's honesty as well. So, just be honest, with everything that's happened in your past. Definitely.
yeah, so that's kind of top tip on that. Just lay it all out.
Yeah,
Just be honest, and
be
actually, the more you've experienced and the more challenges you faced in your own life, that brings a lot to the table when you're looking after children who have potentially gone through things themselves.
I hear some foster parents, so they come up with absolutely like crazy life experiences, and they go, "I thought it would be a barrier," and then they say, "Well, actually, their social worker said, but what an insight you've got that you can give to a young person that's so different to anybody
This
else."
is it. So just be honest, go for everything, and you'll find it'll be a positive, and you can give something back to these young people as well.
Amazing. So again, in the beginning, were you anticipating any barriers or any blockages before you started?
Yeah, obviously being a same-sex couple, we were a little bit, you hear the stigmas and different things in the news, and yes, that was one thing that we were a little bit worried about. It didn't, absolutely fine. And the other thing was, at the time I had a job when I initially, that didn't stop me either.
I think a lot of people anticipate a lot of barriers, whether they're same-sex couple or otherwise.
Yeah,
People think, like we
absolutely.
just talked about, oh, but I've done this, I had this, whatever's gone on in my life.
Yeah.
But have you found that the fostering community is a very kind of welcoming and accepting place to be?
Yeah, brilliant, really, really good.
Supportive.
Very, very supportive. You'll be with other foster parents. You'll have groups and support networks to talk to, and they will keep, they will keep you going.
If people maybe think, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but if people think, I've got too much going on in my life, or maybe I'm not what they're looking for, what would you say to those people?
I think I would say that if you've got the thought of wanting to be a foster parent, then I think you're probably more than likely going to be the right person to do it. If you've got that desire in there, more than likely you will be able to do it. No matter how busy you are, you'll make it work.
And every child is different, of course. So,
yeah.
as long as you're upfront and honest about your situation, there will be a child out there for you.
Yeah.
They do matching process.
Yeah.
So, whatever child is going to be suitable, they'll match with you.
We spoke a little bit earlier about how knowing fostering was right for you, and you just touched on it there a little bit about that kind of desire. You talk about this feeling a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about that.
It's just a desire inside that you want to, I wanted a family. I've always wanted children in my life. Yeah. Obviously being same-sex couple, gay, it's like, how are we going to achieve that? And it's just always something I wanted to do.
A lot of people might wonder if they can work alongside fostering, and particularly work full time. At the start of your journey, Andy, you did work, didn't you?
I did, yes. So I worked for a retail company for 20 odd years. And Mike was the full-time carer, and that was absolutely fine. I'm now full-time fostering since 2023.
Okay.
And it's the best thing I ever did.
Ah.
Yeah, I love it. Best decision ever.
So let's talk about the beginning of the journey. So you balanced working and fostering, and that was right for your family at the time.
It was, yes.
And how was that taken into consideration by the agency? How did they assess whether you'd be able to foster and work?
Yeah, so the agency will look at your situation, and then they will match a child to that's going to fit in with that situation also. At that point, we only had one child. So when I became full-time fostering, we then had an additional child. Yeah. So that just worked out great for us, didn't it, Mike?
Yeah, obviously because I was the main foster parent at that time, so I was available for the child.
All the
He was
time.
placed with us, so that wasn't a problem at all. And there is exceptions where you can work with having the children in placement. Obviously, it depends on the children's needs.
Yeah.
And the circumstances around that, but there is exceptions where people can work and having children placed with them. But yeah, having our two children, who have got additional needs, we do both need to be, at home.
Need that hands-on time to
Definitely to reach needs, definitely.
That's quite a nice little segue. So just tell us a little bit about the young people in your care at the moment, just to give us a little picture of the characters of the people who've got.
So we've got a young girl. She came to us when she was 8. She's now 13. Very sassy. She's an amazing girl. She's very intelligent. She's got a lot to give, but also faced a lot of challenges in her life and been through an awful lot. A lot of trauma which she should not have had to gone through. So there is challenges there, but she brings a lot to us in our family.
And you've got married, haven't you, since you've had this year?
We had, nearly 3 years ago. She was our bridesmaid, wasn't she?
Does she fully embrace that experience?
She did.
She loved it. Yeah, she was very nervous, but she loved it.
Got some great photos.
So, and that's a really lovely example of how you just kind of blend foster children into your daily life, and she really is part of your family.
We just see her as our own,
family.
And I think that's really worked for her.
And then you've also got...
Then we took on a young lad as well, who is also now 13, does have autism.
Okay.
So, yeah, a bit of a whirlwind when he first came. We never looked after children with autism to that degree. He was out of school for the first
18 months.
18 months.
Yeah.
So although it was quite emotionally draining for us, it also gave us a lot of time to get to know him, which I think is really important when you take children
building
out.
that relationship.
But he's amazing. He's a lovely little lad. And obviously bringing the two together, challenging.
Very challenging.
It's some of the things where our young girl, it was speculated that she wouldn't be able to be with another foster child, a sibling. But actually, our attitude to that was, well, actually, we need to learn to teach the skills to be able to do that.
Yeah.
She shouldn't miss out on having a sibling relationship.
And they're just like
They are.
they're like brother and sister.
Yeah, 1 minute they're calling each other names, the next minute they're giving each other a hug. And she's very protective over it.
Oh, she's very protective.
If anyone says anything bad, that's it.
Yeah, she won't hug anything.
No, so
How
it is
does
little.
it make you feel to kind of see how their relationship has
It's lovely to see those nice moments, isn't it?
Proud, I'd say.
Yeah, puts a smile on our face.
Does.
We invited our first child's mum to a Christmas meal, family Christmas meal.
all together?
And she came to our house to get ready, and we went out together.
Yeah. It's key. It's so important that with the children's family. It's
We
just
took our young girl over to Ireland, where her mum lives.
Yeah.
And we had a holiday there.
we did.
Spent a lot of time with them. So, those type of just normal family things. But I think if the children see United Front, it makes them feel a lot more secure
Does.
and safe.
Obviously, you endure challenges as foster parents. How do you support each other through those difficult times?
So I think the key thing is to understand each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I said, it can be very different for each of us, an experience. So it's about how it makes that person feel, and just talking through that and supporting each other. There's things what Andrew can bring, to the table better than what I can bring, and it's sort of like tag teaming really with the children, and I think that works really well. Obviously for single foster parents, a little bit more challenging, but I guess that's where they rely on their support team around them.
Yeah, and we've got friends as well that we've been friends with for a very long time, and they've been supportive. In the early days, they'd come out with the children as well, and which was really nice.
Yeah.
And build those bonds and relationships.
Why is that kind of support from your wider family important? Because I think, if any type of parenting requires a lot of support, people use the phrase, it takes a village. They do that all we hear that a lot. And even though you're, 8-9 years into your journey, you still, you're not an island, you need other people. What's the kind of feeling it gives you to know that you've got people around you?
Gives you safe, makes you feel safety.
Yeah.
And just valued, and just to have that support and someone to talk to. It just allows you that downtime and reflection time.
Yeah.
And they can give a different perspective on things as well, which sometimes is needed. Because
Helpful.
when you're in it,
You don't always see the
you don't
big
always see
picture.
it. So they can
sometimes.
so they can bring another perspective to it, which really is helpful as well.
And it's nice that we've had sort of parents where they've said, they'll come over for a couple of hours. You two go off, have a cup of coffee, and then they'll
That's nice.
sort of step in. So that's quite nice as well.
Gives you a bit of a breather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are your parents, would you describe, are they like grandparents to your foster children? Is that level of involvement with them? How does the family dynamic work?
Yeah, they do,
Yeah,
don't they?
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it can be difficult for extended family to sometimes understand behaviours.
Yeah.
Which are directed from particularly children in the care system.
Yeah.
And what might be to the generation of our parents that may be seen as naughty,
Yeah.
rather than looking behind the behaviour. But in terms of embracing them into the family, they are treated like grandchildren.
Yeah.
And very much accepted and loved.
That's lovely. So the kind of family dynamic you've absolutely got, but there's a little bit of maybe education to be done.
Yes.
Which would apply probably to the wider population.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Actually to children not in care too. Like actually kids behave a certain way for so many different reasons.
And I think there's been so much more research now into different behaviours and conditions and understanding of where behaviours come from with children, that actually our parents' generation find that quite hard because it's the old sort of way of parenting is sort of gone almost.
It was just a child who was naughty. We don't use the word. We don't use the word naughty. A child is never naughty.
Average age of a foster parent in the UK is 54. So we're often looking at like maybe empty nesters or people whose own children, have flown the nest or they've gone off to uni, or people with a bit more time on their hands maybe.
Yeah.
But you two, tell me how old you were when you started fostering.
But it was 9 years ago. And
So I was 32.
Yeah.
Mine was
Right.
35. Yeah.
That around there, yeah.
32, 35.
Well below the kind of national average.
And I think actually I would have done it earlier.
Yeah.
Really?
But it's just obviously we were building our life together.
Yeah.
Property ladder, getting our home.
You had the boxes you wanted to tick
Yeah,
first.
This is it.
That's important. The time of life,
Yes.
Some people are only ready to do it in their 50s, and that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But you were ready
Yeah.
to do it at a younger age. But talking about younger people in fostering, obviously your really below the average age, which is lovely to hear. But do you think that we need to see more young people?
I think so.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And you know, and people that haven't had their own children, I think that's a key player as well.
Yeah.
They're starting from a clean sheet. You know, they haven't had to parent their own children, so they may find this a lot easier.
Why, when fostering, can it be an advantage that you haven't had your own children?
Because you're looking at it right from start. You're looking at it from a therapeutic perspective.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, over time you develop parenting techniques with your own children,
Yeah.
which, you know, great. And, you know, there's a place for that. But I think when you're taking foster children on, it can be very different.
No bad habits.
No bad habits, no preconceived ideas.
That's it.
Yeah. And maybe it's like this, you know, like you talk about trying to explain it to your parents. They have an idea of how they think children behave and how you parent. And actually, you've just done it the right way for the children in your care from the get-go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. A lot of people might think that they can't afford to foster, but talking about fostering finances is something obviously very important. People need to know the financial landscape. Just tell us what you know and tell us what you think it's important for prospective foster parents to know about the money side of things.
I think it's important for them to know that you're financially supported to meet the children's needs. And also ours, because obviously we have bills to pay, you know, and that is something. If you go for agencies, you tend to get quite a reasonable rate. So that's really important to know. I think there's a bit of a misconception around mortgages, you know, that you can't get a mortgage. But
If
you
you
can.
foster?
Yes.
Yeah. But you absolutely can.
Okay.
So it's nothing to worry about. If this is for you, you can get a
It's a
mortgage.
little bit more tricky, but you
Yeah.
can. I think it's about you know, the stability of your placements. Obviously, you just have to prove your remittances and who you work for or with. And I think that you can get mortgages.
I'm going to hit you with a few quickfire FAQs, but if you want to give me more detail, then you can. Can I foster if I work full time?
You can,
Yes.
in certain exceptions, so you can work. Obviously, depending on your children's needs.
Real. Next. Can I foster if I rent my home?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I foster if I have my own children?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I foster if I'm a single person?
You
Yes.
Can. Yeah.
Can I foster if I'm in a same-sex relationship?
Oh, what do you reckon? Yeah. Yes, you can.
We ask all our foster parents, and let's talk about fostering, and I'd like you both to give me one of these, a kind of favourite memory or a most moving moment from your time over the years. And it'll start with you, something that you just think. For me, I think it's that thing of like, this is why we do it, you know, like it's that feeling.
It's that feeling, isn't
Yeah.
it? For me, it would be picking our young person up from school. He comes in the car and he was looking forward to coming home, calling it home and wanting to come back. And he said, "I love home." And that was really lovely to hear.
You've provided that home for that young person.
It was just so nice to hear.
So special. That's really lovely. And what about you, Mum?
Yeah, so for me, it's our young girl. She's Father's Day card. You know, she's wrote a lovely little message in there, bar of chocolate. And I just think it's those moments, you know, it just makes you feel you're doing the right thing.
And then my last question for you, kind of words of wisdom or words of advice. You know, someone's just starting their fostering journey today. Maybe it's with ISP, maybe it's, you know, somewhere else, whatever. What would you say to them to help them on their way?
I would say just don't give up, just persevere.
Yeah.
If you want to do fostering, it's like a calling. You're in the right job, so just persevere, don't give up, and it'll be absolutely fine.
Great advice.
And I think just don't take things too seriously. Just be there for the children. Don't overthink things. Don't take things personal. You know, that the key is just to be there for them because that's what they need.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Let's Talk About Fostering. If you'd like any more information, check out the links in our description, and we'll see you next time.